Hello and welcome to the Open Book channel. My name is Oleander, your designated open book, and this is where I share my journey as an author, talk about the craft of writing, the business of being a content creator, and occasionally review really good books. I've decided to do a little series at the start of this year where I touch up my older works by applying what I've learned about marketing to genres. I will not be touching the content inside the books, although of all things, I do believe that my skill of writing is what's improved the most. The reason I won't be editing the text is because the manuscripts are already formatted, which can be a pain in the butt because it's prose. I think it would be a disservice to erase where I started from skill-wise as an author, and because I just don't want to engage with the trauma of these collections. I left them behind with the pen names Lady Valheim for a reason. But since these books already exist, I feel as though I should be using them to experiment and further my skill set as an indie author and as someone offering services to other self-publishing authors. In this series, I will be rebranding the Bleeding Heart series, which are 3 books of increasingly intense topics. I will be redoing their cover, as well as making and releasing paperback versions. I may rewrite their blurbs, as that's only shown on their sales page and the book back, so no interior changes will be necessary. I am going to try and optimize their keywords, as well as change up their Amazon category inclusion, and after all that, I might even play around with running some book ads, asking for reviews, or trying to stock them places. For full transparency, as far as I know, I have not sold a single copy of either 3 of these books. Only their predecessor, Home Sweet Crack Shack, has managed to net a sale on its own. I kinda just threw them out there and left them to drown. Almost all of the prose, poems, and essays in these collections are available elsewhere online, but I don't think anyone has avidly read them on my Medium page and therefore elected not to buy the book. We're just at a big fat 0 in general interest, so if anything improves from this point forward in reviews or sales, it will be easy to pinpoint what helped. First on the chopping block is Heart-Shaped Hands. I'm going to begin with changing the cover. This is a collection of love poems, but it doesn't exactly look like it. The front cover is so heavy, with the use of black shapes and huge text. The pink helps and the white background makes everything legible, but pulling up the love poem section on Amazon, it's clear just how much Heart-Shaped Hands doesn't belong. I was definitely trying to maximize the cover space, and that's the opposite of what's seen here. Poetry books want soft colors and minimalism. Mine takes up the whole dang page. In this sampling, even when poetry covers are dark, it's so they can highlight the white text and illustrations, whereas mine is black instead of white. So this should be pretty easy to fix the cover of Heart-Shaped Hands to be better reflective of the genre. First, I'll take the original pink color and make that the background. Next, I've got to remove the weight of the illustration, so I'll trace it and make it squigglier like the other poetry books do. Although having consistent title font across the series would be nice and what I was going for originally, the genres are so different that's kind of hard. Maybe something just more basic, less dramatic and splattery. Smaller, too. Lots of these poetry books are about the color and minimalism to the point that you can't even read the author. There, that's a perfectly fine poetry ebook cover, all pink and some scribbles. Although it's a bit unusual to have a large block of color, in this case, the white heart in the middle, which I took forever to make not look totally lopsided, the watercolor texture is the one thing that I will use to carry throughout the rest of the covers. So, cool. There's not much more to do for the paperback than to cover it in pink too. The spine isn't thick enough for a title, so that's easy. I am a little remiss to remove the heartbeat chalk lines, but as that's not an ongoing theme, it's just a little distracting. The most important thing now is to keep it minimalist, not cluttered. I'm going to rewrite the back blurb not to have such a sense of foreboding and actually focus on what this book has to offer. I basically told readers in the last blurb to go read things for free elsewhere. That's not very good marketing on my part. Opening on a quote for the first prose in the collection was a good idea, though. Maybe I'll just use that as the back blurb. It's kind of the thesis of the whole thing. Yeah, honestly, screw it. Collectibles does still have that foreboding in mentioning, I lay you gently in these pages, you, my first love, the one that lived apart from the darkness that later took you, but it is in less wordy words, explaining that this is meant to be a time capsule, the good fleeting moments I had in my first love that I didn't want tainted by the outcome. And that's exactly what this is. I had to restrain very hard from editing this prose. I could write it better now, but I can't let myself do that, or I'll have to fix the interior version too. So, I've slapped collectibles on the back and the book description on KDP. I will be more specific in an outsider observer way for the blurbs of the other books, but if you can't get what this book is about from that poem, then you're not the one who would want to read it. So, I wish that I could change the book's subtitles now, but since it's been published before, just for me to own a copy for myself, that's no longer allowed. I changed my book's answer from sexually explicit images or titles from yes to no because it doesn't have that. I was just being way, way too overcautious. There is flowery description of sexual acts, but what this is really asking is whether people are going to get shown something that they didn't bargain for, which they won't. This may be a big factor to why no one ever picked this book up randomly, honestly. It's been so heavily censored from being recommended. Like, wow. I'm just realizing now how badly I messed up this book's chances. Not even erotica books check off this box. My book wasn't getting shown to anyone. Likewise, I had the reading age set to mature 18 plus, when a 14-year-old should be allowed to read this, and with no age cap. Scrolling down, I saw a checkbox that I hadn't considered before. There's an option to declare your book a large print book, which will categorize it as such on Amazon, I assume, for people who need larger print to read. And looking at a proof copy I have of the interior manuscript, I believe that it is 16 font. I can't be certain without the file anymore, but this font is huge. So I'm going to check that box and see if that changes anything. I'm sorry if this is somehow not 16 font, and will unclick it again accordingly if told otherwise. Okay, so next was the real learning curve part, Publisher Rocket. And I immediately got overwhelmed. I was still unaware that Amazon categories had changed. I thought there was still a way to get your book into up to 10 categories, which is why I bought Publisher Rocket to help me with that. Apparently, they've just genuinely narrowed it down that you can only be in 3. So maybe I don't need Publisher Rocket. I haven't decided yet. The one reverse search I did on another book to, like, kind of in my genre didn't work out because it wasn't a big enough book. So maybe that'll be more useful on other releases. Now I'm just a little anxious about squandering them because you only get 50 searches a month. Anyway, I updated the keywords to be less repetitive and like more different than keywords already used in the blurb. And I put my book in 3 categories with different overhead ones, hoping they'll get shown in more places and to more people. Note that I am not putting my books in categories that don't apply to them in hopes of ranking. They just have a lot of categories that apply to them. Heart-shaped hands, less so, but they are all technically creative, nonfiction, memoirs, prose, poetry about relationships with romance. Well, not the later books, but we'll get into that when we get there. While updating Heart-Shaped Hands, I also popped onto Home Sweet Crack Shack to update it too. I've made the ebook live immediately, but will get proofs of the paperback once I have the other books that I'm revamping ready and can order them all at once to save on shipping. So keep an eye out for an unboxing video of all the new covers that I'm making. I'll save the marketing and ads aspect to the journey of revitalizing and giving my old writing a fighting chance for another video, so for now, here it is. Heart-Shaped Hands has a new cover and is available on ebook, and later, paperback. I'll update you again in a couple of months to report whether any of this has helped. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe so I know and can make more videos like this. Comment too, of course, like a single comment is more than enough to motivate me to do something that you might like, if you said so. So, if you want to support me, there's links to my socials in the description, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.